Welcome back. It's your man Wise, and today we got to discuss it. You already know. I know you guys seen the thumbnail. Y'all seen the title. Senate passes $1.2 trillion government funding bill in the wee hours of the night. Makes absolutely no sense the way they go about doing things in this country. If a business was ran this way, that business would have gone out of business a long time ago. Name me a company that makes decisions and votes on things at the very, very last minute on a consistent basis. Name me one. This is outrageous. I can't believe the people that we have in office that are running this country, and obviously they're running it into the ground. Before we get going, please make sure that you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Drop me a comment down below. I appreciate all the love and support. And without further ado, let's go.
Racing to read more than 1,000 pages and vote ahead of a 2-week Easter recess. They're also trying to avoid a partial government shutdown Friday night if they don't pass the $1.2 trillion bipartisan bill. It includes additional funding for border security, a 5.2% military pay raise, and $1 billion for child care and early education programs. CBS News congressional correspondent Scott McFarland joins me now from Washington. Scott, give me some of the other highlights in this behemoth.
Oh, this sure does remind me of college, like reading Shakespeare, which is to say, reading the 1,000 pages as best as you possibly can and understanding as much of it as you can. There's some boilerplate stuff in here, John, things we weren't surprised by. Both parties talked about adding new military pay raises for Pentagon families, for service member families. That's in there. More money to help the U.S. supporting Taiwan. That's in there, no surprise. No pay raises for Congress. They've kept their own salaries flat, but it really is the border security money that was the holdup that kept this thing on a simmer. But they've added funding for more border agents, more detention beds, more border security technology. That's all folded in, and some things are taken away that Republicans wanted taken away. They've cut funding for diversity, inclusion, and equity programs in the military and the Department of Homeland Security. They're retracting, taking back unspent COVID aid money. That's been a priority. And through the process of keeping the government open, John, they have cut some programs from the FBI, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. Those are things that would have been politically toxic a few years ago, but Republicans view them as advantageous at a time when Donald Trump, their standard bearer, is talking about the weaponization of law enforcement against him.
All the bills, they're always bloated. They never can just vote on single item bills. They all have to be just filled with a bunch of nonsense that most of these guys, I would assume, don't read. I would assume that even their staff don't get a chance to read the entire bill. So a lot of times, most people are voting off of half information, and that's unfortunate. That is very unfortunate. 1,000-page bill, and that gets presented to the Senate with 12 hours or so to go over and read and then make try to make an informed decision. That's insanity. Name a company that can operate like this. And then you wonder why the government is failing the way it is. But let's get into this article here. So the Senate voted 74-24 early Saturday morning to pass a sweeping $1.2 trillion government funding bill after heated last-minute negotiations caused senators to breach the midnight deadline to avert a shutdown. Senator John Kennedy, Republican out of Louisiana, said, "It's typical, it's juvenile for the Senate to wait until the 11th hour to act on the bill." And I agree with him 100% there. The bill faced opposition from House conservatives unhappy with general spending levels, the inclusion of Senate Democratic earmarks that would benefit the LGBTQ community, and the lack of further restrictions on the migrant border crossings and abortion rights. Representative Chip Roy, Republican out of Texas, he says, "Here we go again. The swamp is back," as he led opposition to the bill in the House. He said Republicans voting for the package will be voting to fund the very policies you campaigned against. Now, you guys have to see this right here. These are some of the things that are in the bill that the mainstream media is not reporting on. Listen to this. Funding for Department of Defense climate programs, $200 million to construct a new FBI headquarters, and money for the World Health Organization. There's also funding for the Department of Homeland Security. In this bill, there's also 12 earmarks from Democratic senators in this bill. Now, I didn't find all 12, but I was able to come up with a few. One of the earmarks, one project is a $1 million earmark that Senator Majority Leader Charles Schumer, or Chuck Schumer, as you guys know, requested for a virtual programming pilot for SAGE, which is an organization that provides services to LGBTQ elders. So $1 million to LGBTQ senior citizens. Another earmark, $1.8 million project for the midwifery unit at Women and Infants Hospital in Providence, Rhode Island. That earmark was sponsored by Democratic Senator Jack Reed and Sheldon Whitehouse. The hospital's family planning clinics provide abortion and other related services. So those are two earmarks that have been tossed into this bill. You guys may say or ask, what is an earmark? Earmarks are ways for individual members of Congress to request funding for projects directly related to their interests or special interests that can be tossed directly into the bill during the budget process. They did away with these earmarks. These earmarks went away for about 10 years. I'm not 100% sure exactly why they brought them back at this point, but there was a reason why they got rid of these earmarks, because the Democrats had 12 of these things in this bill. I just showed you 2 of them. And when you hear what they're for, typical Democrat policies and actions. This is what they're about. This is what they're about. I got another video to share with you guys. Give me 1 second.
Reserves. Thank you.
The Democrat leader talks about the mosaic. I assume by the mosaic that anyone who votes for this bill today will be supporting that we're talking about $156,000 for the Hartford Gay and Lesbian Health Collective, an organization self-described as champions of LGBTQIA equity and provides training in cultural competency and access to health care for LGBTQ youth, or $2 million in Oregon clinic that provides hormone therapy for kids, or the $850,000 for gay senior housing in Massachusetts, or $400,000 for the Briar Patch Youth Services in Wisconsin that has gender-affirming clothing program for kids 13 to 18, or $400,000 to the Garden State Equality Education Fund, which helps minors transition genders, promote biological boys playing girls' sports and using the same restrooms. I could go on and on. How about the $1 million for the Inner City Muslim Network, which calls for the destruction of Israel? That's what we're funding. That's precisely what we're funding in this legislation. So when the Democratic leader talks about a mosaic, that's what he's talking about. And my Republican colleagues who will campaign against it all year, they're voting to fund it today. To be very clear, my Republican colleagues are voting to fund that so-called mosaic today, unless they choose the right path and vote against it. And my friend from California, when he talked about, the horrors that'll happen if we have a CR. Well, we shouldn't be here. This is the swamp acting what it does. Have government funding expire on the Friday before a 2-week recess heading into Easter, precisely to have the pressure of jet fumes so that the American people are the ones left holding the bag, so that we, members of Congress, can go off to our Codels, can go travel, can go do your fundraisers, can make sure you get home. But the ones left holding the bag are the American people. And when we talk about this, the game was given up. When we talk about defense, everything that is happening here is being done in the name of defense. Everything that you see. And talking about how our national security will be undermined. Well, tell me about national security in Texas. When you have the National Guard getting rolled over in El Paso. When you have Texans dying from fentanyl poisoning. When you have gangs and cartels operating in Texas. Talk to me about national security then. I'll yield 90 seconds to my friend from Arizona.
Wow. Powerful. But y'all heard it. Now, I went over too. He actually added another 5 or 6 earmarks that were tossed into this bill. That's what we're talking about right there, man. Mainstream media will not tell you this. They won't. They'll give you the high level. They never get into the weeds with these bills. And that's the problem. And Representative Roy, he's 100% right. We, the American people, are the ones holding the bag. It's us. I hope you guys enjoyed this content. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. Drop me a comment down below. Keep God first in your life. Stay prayed up. You have to out here in these streets. America first. And I'm going to catch up with you all next time. Peace.